Hello and welcome to this Railway Domain Session 1 as part of the buildingSMART International Standards Summit here in sunny Valencia 2024. Thank you for joining us today. My name is John Proctor and I will be your moderator. Details of today's session are on the screen. We will be talking about applying IFC 4.3 for the Rail Manifesto, content and learnings. As you can see, we will be hearing from Eivind, Pagander, Tysnes and Stefan Reiser. But first, I will be passing to Winfried Stix, who will say a few words of introduction and hand over to Eivind. The session is going to last about 60 minutes, and we will have time for some questions and indeed answers at the end. This session is being recorded and will be made available in the replay section of the event as soon as possible. Before I hand over to Winfried, I'd like to remind you this is a hybrid event. If you're online, your microphones will remain muted for the duration of the session. If you wish to make a comment or ask a question, please use the chat box in the control panel and I will prompt you for that as we go through the session. For the attendees here in the room, please keep background noise to a minimum. And if you wish to make a comment or ask a question, please raise your hand and we'll use the microphone I'm holding now. I'm going to bring to your attention BSI's Code of Conduct, which you will see on the screen in a moment. buildingSMART is committed to ensuring that participation in the development of standards is unrestricted and the process for their adoption is transparent, and that standards that are developed do not favour any particular provider, but are open, non-binding and accessible to all. Okay, I'm going to pass to Winfried, who will make a few words of introduction. Winfried.
Hello together, thank you very much for coming. And thank you very much for having me here for some goodbye words. And I hope a lot of you got the thank you words from Clive for the work which the railway room and the railway domain did the last few years. I hope you've got it. If not, I will send it to you because it's really a good point. And I think we have done a really great work. And I want to say thank you very much to all of you and to the hundreds of colleagues which are working on that point. And now 2024, in the spring 2024, we've got the IFC 4.3 ISO standard done. But that's not the end of the story. There is a lot of things to do. We have left over for you. So I want to thank you all for the trust you have brought me in this time, and thank you for your work there. And then now I want to hand over to Madame Sheng and to Eivind as the new leaders of the railway domain and the railway lead. So have a good luck. Have the same spirit as we have had before we had started it. I think there's a lot of things to do, and you know it, and I think you know how to do it. So thank you very much for your willingness to take over that point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Winfried. So this morning we will talk about the Rail Manifesto. I will not say much at the beginning. I will leave the word to Stefan, who together with Adrian Wildenhauer from the SBB has took the initiative to make this manifesto and more or less got the whole railway domain steering committee on board with it. So please, Stefan.
Good morning. I have the honor and the privilege to present to you the outcome of the Railway Manifesto, applying IFC 4.3 for Railway Manifesto. And it's called correctly. My name is Stefan Reiser. I am leader of the discipline Building Standards and Industry Activities at the program Payment SBB. We are the R&D program at the Swiss Federal Railways, which implements BIM for infrastructure and construction at our organization. I have all taken this role that I have right now from Eivind Wildenhauer, who might be familiar with most of you. I would also like to express my thank you to him for all the work he has done previously. And also to David Germer, which is in the room, a colleague of mine, who was the author of this manifesto to be honest. So far so good. Next slide. Who is the, no, that's not the next slide. 1 to 4, thank you. Because I think that's one of the most important slides that there is when it's about the manifesto, and I'll step apart so you can take a picture of it. The endorsing organizations of this manifesto and of endorsing IFC for the free for rail. I think it's quite impressive what we see here. We have an overview of the rail stakeholders that were involved in creating IFC for the free. We have people from the organizations that to the boards endorse the use of open BIM standards in projects and infrastructure. And maybe we'll have you. And that's quite an important part because the manifesto is not something that should be close to our group, but it is something that you should use for the future, either in national adoption or in using the messages that are incorporated in the manifesto for your daily work. I will go a bit more into detail on what's included in the manifesto and what we are talking about. And Winfried has said it very correctly, and maybe next slide, John, please. Yeah. That's a good overview of where we are right now. 3rd of January 2024, ISO 16739-1 is an international standard on the publication, which I think is a great success. I think you might think alike. And it also contributes to the SDG 9, which is build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. So we've done it, basically. But as Winfried has also said, there is a lot more work to do right now than just having a standard which is published. And maybe I want to take a step back because I was not involved in the beginning of the development of the standard, but I like to dig into archives, and I found some slides that I wanted to show on how the manifesto really is connected to the initial ideas that we had when we created IFC. Next slide, please, Joe. Yep. So what I found is this slide, for example. It's from 2018 or 19, if I found it wrong. And there is a goal of an IFC project. I think it's on the carousel. There is a goal for the of the IFC project on our way to a digital twin, which is to create and provide digital representation, complete, comprehensive, and applicable. Also goals that we have had in mind when we worked on the manifesto, that it's more or less complete because it's more or less general, that it's comprehensive, it really breaks down some complex structures into something readable and understandable for everyone, and that it is applicable for every stakeholder in the industry. It does not really depend on you being an infrastructure provider or you being an IT or software provider or a standards organization. It has to be for the entire railway ecosystem, and I think the endorsing organizations really show that that is something that is the entire railway ecosystem on the international level with on IFC development. And it's also something that is for the whole system life cycle, something that is very important. In 2019 then, shall we next slide please? Yep. The railway project started with the steering committee over here in Paris with the executives that you see here. And just to see that we are in 2024 now, and what has been done on development on this standard is really incredible. And also, if you could please show the next slide. Thank you. If we look at what the target is for the actions of implementation, now we're in 2020. We have technical support, we have the PMO, we have the software vendors, which are absolutely a targeted group of this manifesto, and also the railway companies. And all these are involved in this manifesto, or are addressed by this manifesto as well. Next slide, please. Now this is a starting slide that I found. We all want to get full feedback to improve our candidate study. We want concrete working solution after testing them in the real world that what we have done in phase 3 of the project from railway networks. We want proven software interoperability solutions and reliable information related to interface and exchange database in use cases. And all this that we have done during the project has led to the manifesto that is of course, it has also led to the standard, but now I'm talking about the manifesto, so I'll speak about the manifesto, which incorporates goals, which incorporates joint approaches, and which incorporates call to action, on which I will leave a few words now. John, next slide, please. Yep. The manifesto is a document which provides some goals that I think we all in this room and far beyond can agree on. We all want to have the use of BIM and open data standards, of open BIM standards, and the use of IFC as we use it now and as we will use it in the future, enables to optimize the design, construction, operation, and maintenance of railway infrastructure at earlier stages than it does right now, as under the data standards that we sometimes have to work right now. By using uniform data standards, we improve the flow of information between all parties involved and accelerate processes. The goal is a frictionless operation. Another goal that the manifesto has is to endorse the increasing of efficiency. Increasing efficiency by open data standards is something that we all firmly believe in, and we will optimize processes. We will optimize data in the information transfers. We will optimize all the building and planning and maintenance processes that we have with the help of open BIM standards in the future. On time and within the budget that we have. The next goal, and I think that's a very good goal also when we look at what the summit is about. We have a, sorry, not the next slide, just the next goal. Thank you. We want to support sustainability. I think open BIM standards are the basis for a more sustainable and more reliable rail network in Europe and around the world. So sustainability can really profit from using open BIM standards, and that's something that we also want to endorse when we endorse this manifesto. But then again, in the end, it's also about customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction by using open BIM data standards. We want to increase customer satisfaction for us and for our users. It's our partners in the project. It's also our clients that are using the rail network for every day. And we are to be more transparent in the future. We endorse transparency by using open BIM standards. All the stakeholders in the process have access to information and to data that they probably didn't have before. That's a risk, that's a challenge, but it is also a great potential for the future to be more transparent during planning, during building, and during maintenance and operation. And then in the end, it is all about the money. So we want to be more cost efficient. Using open BIM data, using open BIM standards is also something that we need to have in place for us to be more cost efficient in our infrastructure projects in the future. So, what we would like to support, or what we support with this manifesto is the joint approach, which now joins the next slide, please. Thank you. We want to have a industry-wide targeted introduction of BIM and open data standards of open BIM principles. It really just works when we all pull on the same string, when we all move into the right direction or in the same direction, and when we all have the same approach and the same goal. That does not mean that we have the same pace. I'm sure our organizations and your endorsing organizations have different plans in implementing local BIM standards in their infrastructure projects. Some of them have already implemented them. We did partially, and I will show you afterwards where we are, just to have an example of that. But we want to have a targeted introduction. It has to be uniform, which but it does not have to be unified that everybody does the same thing. We want to have process optimization. So the optimizing of processes based on findings from the introduction of IFC 4.3 is something that it helps us when we approach the implementation of IFC 4.3 in our projects. It also needs to go along with individual training and further education. It does not help if the organizations that are represented in this room are the only ones in their industry that know how IFC 4.3 works. It's also the duty of our clients, of our contractors, of our planners to inform themselves on IFC 4.3, but it's our duty as mostly publicly owned organizations to also provide them the information that they need to be ready to work with such standards and with such innovations. We want to have close cooperation, an industry-wide close cooperation with stakeholders that are part of the processes and part of the value chain. So with software vendors, with IT providers, with developers, with higher education, all of them have to come together to have a cooperation. So it's specifically a cooperation with IT providers, and it's also a cooperation with other standards. IFC 4.3 is the international agreement on what open BIM data standards for infrastructure are. That still needs some national extensions and adaptations. It needs help in applying IFC 4.3 on a national level. That also means that the endorsing organizations want to cooperate with other standards on a national and international level. As I said before, it's really important that we have a joint approach in introducing IFC 4.3 in our infrastructure projects, and I just want to show you an example of where we are as SBB. I don't know if you could maybe go to the next slide.
Yep.
Thank you. Just so you have an overview of where we are, you might be on a completely different train, but that's fine. We are here. We are in preparation. We have 100 pilot projects where we are applying BIM in infrastructure right now. We're in 2024, almost 3 months away from starting to endorse the use of IFC in our projects. We will focus on planning, construction, initiation of service and management up to 2033. Our internal planning goes to 2039 now, but the one most important moment is the first January 2025. And as you know, we have been, or SBB has been part of the IFC project from almost the very beginning. So if we really want to have the full potential that IFC brings to our projects, we need to use IFC 4.3 in the future. Therefore, we need to have people that are educated on IFC 4.3. We also need software that is able to process IFC 4.3. As I said before, if we want to compare the code to maybe a Swiss thing, John, if you could please change the slide for the next one. In Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, there is a really popular TV show which is called Wetten, das. I bet you will. And there was one last edition last year where a towing club from Stans in central Switzerland, which you should visit. It's beautiful. Towed this cable car up one of the steepest hills for I think 10 meters in 2 minutes. They tried 30 years before. The same club tried this, the same job 30 years before, and they failed. They tried it last year and they succeeded. And it was because they said they had learnings from the ones that they did 30 years ago, and maybe because the pressure was a bit higher. And that's exactly where we are right now. If we want to move rail infrastructure, we all have to be on the same track and we all have to pull in the same direction. And I think that's one of the most important things when it comes to understanding the manifesto. So I would invite you to, John, please, the next slide, to please use it. Use the manifesto as a source of inspiration. Use the manifesto as something that you just read and give your coworkers or read it for yourself, but also use it on a national level. I am leading a BIM group of 13 infrastructure providers in Switzerland, which are rail infrastructure providers, and we want to publish a rail manifesto, which is more or less the same as the manifesto that we published in buildingSMART International, but just in German, French, and Italian on a national level. So if you would like to do that as well in your country, I think nobody really is in your way to use the basic principles that are in the manifesto for that. But also please use it in terms of use IFC. Use IFC 4, use IFC 4.3 in your projects and to gain the much needed feedbacks for the industry and to have a more sustainable and more reliable infrastructure in the future that what we will right now. Just to briefly touch on some key learnings that we have come through while having created this manifesto, because in the end it's 2 pages of text and 1 page of signatures or endorsing organizations. John, if you could please change the next slide, thank you. But it has taken quite some time. And I want to be a bit, I just want to be open.
Go ahead, Stefan.
Thank you. When we started, just if you want to have a national adaptation or if you want to do something similar in your domain, a good open BIM standard related to a consensus is a good start, always. So we had a good product in the very first place that we promoted in this. Just gets deliveries mailed every 3 days or something. The physical mail, and does not understand how a manifesto could be signed physically because it's just not a thing in the Nordics. Well, being more south, that's something that is something that has to be discussed. And I think that's something that we all have learned during the process, that this is something that helps the program. And I mean, I made a presentation yesterday, and I have not seen BIM ever since, but since yesterday, it's also the same here. There is no end to OpenBIM. So the manifesto is no end. IFC for the free publication is no end. OpenBIM is just the very beginning. We have a lot of ideas up our sleeves and in the domain, and I think there is way more to do, and the manifesto is no end point, but it's just the beginning point of the work for the stakeholders involved in the industry in applying IFC for. That's my short overview of the manifesto itself. Maybe there are other stakeholders who want to say something as well. I'll hand over the microphone to them.
Eivind, are you going to say some words?
I can lead us through with the organization. Do we have any questions from the chat to start?
We've got no questions online at the moment.
For those in the audience, can take questions when we have all said a couple of words. In no particular order, Rafi Beckett, will you want to start, Susan?
Sam from the Swedish Transport Administration. I'm with the steering committee in the plane today. Okay, sorry. We have been supporting IFC Infra from the very beginning and been very involved for many of reasons. For example, it's very important for us to, as a public owner and client, to be part of this standardization. And because of, we don't want to be connected to any specific supplier. And also this question about archiving, the long-lived archiving as format. So I think we, one of the good reasons is also to increase the quality. That's IFC can do. So in the end, it will make us feel more safe and therefore more willing to trust the data. And I think trust, availability, and transparency, both to data and people, is very important. Stefan talked a little bit about transparency. So to sign this manifesto is important to show the industry that we all believe in IFC. And of course, I was agreeing with what you said. So thank you, Stefan and Eivind, for making this possible.
Thank you, Michael. Edward from SNCF.
Thank you. I'm Edward Chevalier from Reiser, French Airline Principal Manager. So why? The presentation yesterday, why not? But no, more seriously, we have two reasons. First reason, because we believe in OpenB. As a reminder, we started 7 years ago in Spain, in Barcelona, for preparing the memorandum of understanding for IFC rate. And after personally I was implied in IFC rate working group from the beginning, from Beijing, 6 years ago. I started as telecom leader in the telecom domain after common share, after in the implementation of IFC rate. The second reason is we support the OpenBeam development and the IFC rate. Also, as a reminder, ISSF Réseau put more than 20 experts in the IFC rate development, and also 3.5 million euros for the development. And the third reason is we implemented. So we have an ambitious program to implement the OpenBeam IFC rate. Now we have more than 200 projects in the OpenBeam IFC rate. We have more than 1,700 people that are training for OpenBeam and IFC. And also we have the technical requirements document now to SSF Réseau that makes the IFC mandatory for all the SSF Réseau projects. So yes, we have clear reason to support the OpenBeam and to sign the manifesto. Thank you very much. And thank you, Stefan, to prepare the manifesto, and also Tysnes for leading us for the next steps of IFC rate development. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. Front office, Josef at the back. So the Austrian railway.
Thank you. My name is Franz Josef Bär from the Austrian Federal Railways, the infrastructure manager of the Austrian railway network. We operate around 5,000 kilometers of railway network. We were also, let's say so, founding member together with really good colleagues now. I would say friends. We just meet on every summit. In former days, we met more often because it was really a long journey and hard work to create or to work on this standard for the railway industry. And as my colleague Wilfried already said, we in those days we already believed, or we still believe, that open data, open standards, and yesterday at the opening session, the man from Autodesk said open data is key, because in Austria we are working on around 3,000 projects every year, and it would not be possible to have here a special vendor, special software tool or whatever, and to have this mandatory. So yes, we also showed we showed that we believe in open standards by signing this manifesto. Thank you, Stefan, for the work you have done, and Eivind, that's as Stefan told a little of the way to create such a manifesto. It was not so that easy, but in Austria we also, same as my colleague in France, we decided from this year on that every so-called complex project, it's a bigger project, has to be done with the BIM methodology. We have defined our data requirements. Last week we that was officially released version 1.0 of the data requirements, and now we, as Stefan said, and you all know, we have to go out to our clients and to our partners and force them more, and help them to use IFC 4.3, and then we will have open data which we can integrate in our processes and our systems. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Francisco. So our next signee isn't present. Timo Salmon from FTIA, or one of our new fellows, he couldn't be present here today or this week, but I've got a short statement from him as well and the FTIA. We signed it because we see it very important, especially getting project information directly to ASCII information systems on the way to get more productivity, and also that in Finland, IFC implementation and BSDV are very hot topics. From Baldur's perspective, we're a public company, like most of us, so we can't require a specific software to be used in our projects. So for us, open BIM and open standards is a must. In Norway, we have been fortunate to have an open GIS standards for 25 to 30 years already. So getting open BIM standards that we can use as well is very important for us, because it makes us data-centric and information-centric, and it makes us system independent. And from our ICT departments, that's very important, and it's very important from the BIM department, BIM and geomatics departments as well. Eivind, do you want to say something? Okay. So, Madam Cheng from the CIA.
OK， 非常高兴，我们这次又来到西班牙开这次会议。因为在春季会的时候，我们讨论要做这么一个宣言这次这个宣言呢，终于可以发布了。
Okay, so I will translate the Manifesto's words, and first we are very happy to hear and to talk about the Manifesto, and we are really think that's a big work for us.
看到在座的有好多老朋友，还有新的朋友。那么这个宣言发布的基础呢，也是我们这7年来，就像我们前主席温福瑞说的，我们花了7年的时间把我们的铁路标准把它完成了。那么这个标准完成以后，我们中国铁路呢也在编写标准的过程，同时呢我们也在实践这个标准。我们现在有很多的这个在建的高速铁路都在使用 IFC 的相关标准。
And like the military said, they spent many years for developing these standards, and for now, So there are a lot of the high-speed railway engineering in China would apply the IFC standard to their construction and the design and the operation. So it means a lot to us.
我们中国铁路呢也编写了一个叫智能高铁2.0的一个计划。我们在这计划当中，我们将开展智能设计、智能建造和智能运维。那么今天我们到会的还有我们的铁路运营联盟的副理事长钱女士
And they also developed a structure for intelligent high-speed railway of China. So that would be alignment is IFC standard. So and today our vice chairman Madam Chen also compared to join these stations.
我们这个副理事长呢，也是我们这个中国上海、浙江、福建、长三角地区的高速铁路建设的总指挥长。
And the Madam Chen is responsible for the Shanghai, Hangzhou, and many cities railway construction engineering.
上次呢，这个我们buildingSMART的 CEO 还有这个Eivind先生也到上海做了访问，到我们现场进行考察。那么我们现场的智能建造已经非常有规模，也欢迎大家到中国来。
Okay, so last time the Eivind and Mr. Pei they came to the Shanghai to visit the intelligent construction in Shanghai railway. So we think we are very welcome everyone here to Shanghai to see what's the development of the China Rail for IFC for smart construction. And Madam Chen would like to say something to us.
非常高兴也非常荣幸加入到我们这个BIM的这个大家庭。下一步呢，这个我们C主任领导和我们所有的这个会员单位领导，落实好这个宣言，然后呢，特别是在我们中国的这个高铁的建设中积极的实践、运用、拓展再把这个后续的工作再把它往前推进。
So I'm happy to see a lot of the people here to contribute to the international railway engineering, and next step they will use the IFC under the leadership of the railway domain, and by using this manifesto to push forward the rail construction in China Railway in Shanghai.
谢谢。
So thank you very much.
我们这个现在有了我们的新的主席。我们在上次春季会的时候，我们有了很多的提案，也有这个我们这个综合铁路站房的也有认证的也有这个全过程数字咨询的我们也想呢再讨论一些新的内容在下一个阶段我们有更好的发展。
So this year we also have generated so many new ideas about how to what's the next step of the railway domain, including the standard technology and certification and consulting, and we would like to cooperate with everyone here and to make the railway domain better and better.
好，欢迎大家到中国来看我们的高速铁路，看我们的高速铁路的建设，谢谢。
Okay, so finally, welcome everyone to China and to see our achievements, to see China Railway. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Adrian, who's not present in this room today, and Stefan for all their work. They have been spearheading this from the start, and now we're finally finished. But the job starts now. We have finalized it. It will be published hopefully soon on the buildingSMART webpage under the Railway Domains blog. So it's open there and will be accessible to everyone. If you want to come on board, contact buildingSMART, and then we'll contact the Railway Domain Steering Committee, and we will get in touch with you and have you on board and update the manifesto. Do we have any questions from the audience?
Yeah, if there are any questions online or from the audience, please raise them now. Perhaps a few words on what comes next from the railway domain.
Of course, we're starting just after lunch today at 1:30 p.m. We will have start with our next roadmap. So that will be a workshop, and we want the railway community feedbacks. So we're not going to present anything. We're going to start working on it. And it's not a steering committee alone who works and makes the roadmap. It won't be a good roadmap unless we get the feedback from the community. So we will start there and today after lunch. Tomorrow morning, I can't remember if it's, I think it's 11 o'clock tomorrow. We will have a joint session with the airport domain. We will actually talk about stations and airports because they have a lot in common, more than you actually would believe. Ariska mentioned that yesterday afternoon. And we will look to the plots how we can go forward with this because there's so much that are in common. So why not work together than work alone and separate? So I think that's what's coming now. At least from the railway domain's perspective, of course, most of us is going to start using the IFC 4.3, hopefully as soon as it's published. But other than that, I think that's what's coming, at least in the short term.
Sounds good, Eivind. Thank you very much. We have no comments or questions online. I can see Nick has got his hand raised. I'll take the microphone to you, Nick. Go ahead. Ask your question, Nick.
I won't be able to join the later sessions. I'd like to pick up on the theme of sustainability and say that tomorrow we will be launching sustainability information requirements. And we work very hard to make sure that they are applicable to infrastructure and the other stuff, which we must mention by name. And also in the regulatory room, we are starting to turn our attention to the regulation of infrastructure. So we're putting together your roadmap. Perhaps you could repeat those two thoughts and carry them forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Just talking in the microphone at the front of the room, just to check that the audio is working through these microphones. Are we all good? Yep. Any further questions or comments from anybody in the room? No? Okay. I'm going to bring this railway domain session 1 to an end then. Thank you very much to our presenters today, to Eivind, to Stefan, to Winfried, to all of the railway domain project owners and stakeholders who we've heard from. This has been an excellent collaboration for many years, as you have just covered, and we look forward at BSI to working with you all for many more years to come. The next session in this room is in just over an hour's time at 11 o'clock, when we will be hearing from the infrastructure domain, session 1. So please come back and join us. And as Eivind said, we have a further railway domain session this afternoon in this room, and further sessions with the airport and with the infrastructure domain in collaboration with the railway domain tomorrow. So enjoy the rest of the summit. Thank you.
For those who want to stay, and I would recommend the members of the steering committee for the railway domain to stay, CRBIM has something to say and something to give to members of the steering committee, and especially those they have worked with for a very long time. So, but please feel welcome to stay for a little bit longer, and I will give the word to Dashwang, who will lead the next. But for those who want, you're welcome to leave. The manifesto session is over. Thank you.
Thank you.